This is the week 3 training tape. These plays occurred on September 8th, 2023. We're starting to get into the heart of the season here. Exhibition games are winding down. Conference games are starting to take place. So even though teams might be 0-3 right now, they might get a fresh start with starting their conference games. So we have to be screwed in. And before I forget, I really want to compliment all of you on the effort you've been given the past couple weeks. You can definitely see that you've turned it up, and the concentration level and the effort on the field is there. So great job, and let's keep up this momentum going, because it is not going to get any easier from here. We have 23 plays today. We're going to go through the passing game a little bit. We're going to spend a lot of this training tape on illegal blocks, blocks in the back, offensive holding, and blindside blocks. I'm getting a lot of questions on that, so I thought we'd go through what is, what isn't on those. Okay, this first play has to do with intentional grounding. So we know that the quarterback can get outside the pocket, or the tackle box, excuse me, and legally ground the ball in an area with no receivers, just as long as the ball crosses or gets probably right to the line of scrimmage. We're not real picky on situations like that. Or they can throw the ball legally in a area where there is an eligible receiver, whether they're inside or outside of the pocket. So we'll take a look at this play right now, and we'll talk mechanics here. So quarterback is getting sacked, just throws the ball into the ground. And you can see right away that the referee has the sense that something is wrong, and he runs up because he feels that there's something happening here. And that's referees. If you can start to understand those situations where the quarterback's under duress here and starts to get tackled and just flicks the ball down into the ground, this is going to help you get that spot for intentional grounding. So he runs up here and stops. Okay, oh, let me get back. He stops. And he has the spot of the foul right here. So now he's waiting for information from one of his crewmates, whether or not the pass made it to an area where there was an eligible receiver. Because what we do know is this quarterback never gets out of the pocket. So the only way we do not call intentional grounding here is if there is a receiver in the area. And as you can see in this situation, the only receiver is right here, okay? But the ball gets thrown right here. So we cannot deem that that running back is in the area. Now, if this running back was standing here and the ball lands here, of course we're going to say that running back is in the area. But the crew did a really good job here, getting together, because this is not, the referee drops the flag, but this ends up being a crew call. And the crew does a great job of piecing this entire play together to get this foul for intentional grounding. All right, this next play we're going to look about defensive pass interference, and I want us to watch what happens with this player down here. We talk a lot about not playing the ball and what does that do with our thought process through defensive pass interference or not. So I'll let the play through and see what we have here. So we have a flag for DPI here, and we have rightfully so. So the defender right now, the ball's in the air right now. So the defender's eyes are clearly here. The defender's eyes never turn around, and they keep going into the receiver, restricting the receiver from even trying to make a play and coming back to the ball. So right here, that's just fundamentally pass interference here. And this is correctly called here by the deep wing here. Gets his flag out, kills the clock. It's a good call, and it's a basic call, and I know that you all would make it. Now I want you to contrast what that happens with the same play, sort of the play at the bottom of the screen. And this time we're going to take a look at what happens with this receiver right here, and I'll let it play. And they both go to the ground. And let's take a look at the difference. Now, if you recall on that last play, the defender never turned his eyes around. So the ball's in the air here. Defender's looking for the ball. The ball is right about here. So he is making a play on the ball, and he has equal rights to the ball as that wide receiver there. He's running in phase, turns his head. Perfect. And the ball's here. So this is perfect defense. Okay, now what ends up happening is we have tangled feet. and they both go to the ground because they're both going to play the ball. And this is correctly not called defensive pass interference because the defender actually turns his head and tries to make a play on a ball. The feet get tangled and they both go to the ground. So good job here for not calling defensive pass interference on this play. Next play we're going to look at offensive pass interference. What are the requirements for offensive pass interference? Well, we know that it is on the onus on the offense to get away. Okay, they know the route. They can't just run in and try to knock the defender off the established path that the defender is already on. And what I mean by that, think about it in basketball terms, is that this defender standing here and the receiver runs straight at them and knocks them off the path and creates space, then we have a foul. But if the receiver's trying to run an outside release and the defender slides into them and there's contact, well, the defender created that contact, and we do not put the onus of that contact on the offense. We put the onus on the defense in that situation here. So the ways we can have offensive pass interference are we talked about it a lot. Setting a pick, blocking downfield, pushing off to create space. So let's watch what happens in number 3 right there. And it gets thrown there. So I want you to think about what I talked about before and what do we have on this play. So as you can watch early in this route, he is trying to take an outside release on this linebacker here. The linebacker now slides over right there and creates contact with the offensive player. So the offensive player is not the person who creates the contact. So we cannot have OPI at this point. The only way we can have OPI at this point is if this offensive player pushes off, or the offensive player alter his route and goes directly into the linebacker and pushes him upfield. But as we slow this down and go forward, the offensive player is trying to run a route to the outside, clearly. The defender starts to throw his hands up because I think he can figure out by now that the pass is going to go the outside and he's trying to draw a foul here. And we correctly do not call pass interference in this situation. So I know we talk about a lot where And the other thing I want to point out, that number 3 receiver is not in a blocking posture. He's running a route, okay? If he stops and turns his butt at this point to the outside and has a blocking posture where he's blocking this linebacker, then, again, we can make a case for OPI in this situation. But more often, in this case, he's running a route. The contact's created by the offense, and we do not have a foul for offensive pass interference, correctly so. All right, for the time we spend the majority of the talk on this tape is the legal block. So we're going to take a look at the bottom of the screen on a kickoff. And before we get into legal blocks in the back, let's talk about philosophy. And if you don't understand, or if you're a newer official and don't understand what philosophy is, the definition of philosophy as it pertains to officiating in general is how we implement the rules. Because the rules are written in a black and white sense, but we officiate a game that we deal a lot in a gray area. Okay, and if we officiated the game black and white, like it says in the book, our games would be 5 hours long, and that's not what we want. We want to do what's right for the game and only insert ourselves in situations where there are clear and obvious disadvantages to the team that gets fouled. Okay, so with blocks in the back, and I've had a lot of talk with coaches on this, it does not take a lot of force when you hit someone in the back to displace them and take them off their initial path to try to make a tackle, okay? But what, as officials, we need to be focused on is where that contact starts, because this first play will illustrate it pretty good. If the contact starts on the side and then and there's no disengagement, and then there's a push and it slides to the back, it is not a foul for a block in the back. However, if there's contact that starts on the side, there's disengagement, and then a push in the back, then that second act, which is a push in the back, becomes a foul. And then, again, we'll show a couple plays here where there does not take much force, but you can tell that there is displacement in the back, which causes the tackler to not be able to make a play on the ball. So let's take a look at the bottom of the screen here. And we'll let the play run a little bit. And I'll show you where to look. We're going to look at the action that happens right here about the the 27-yard line. I'm going to rewind it back. Think about what I just said and watch this block. Okay, so we have a block by this person right here. that starts at the side, right here. The initial engagement is at the side, and then it transitions to the back. And you can see, I don't even know how much force there is in the back, but we have to watch not to be fooled, because that person then lunges forward, probably to try to make a tackle in this case, because the runner goes by. And what we don't want to do is assume that the block was solely in the back, because in this case it was on the side, and there was maybe a slight component in the back, but the way the runner fell could make us think that there is a block in the back, but in this case there is not. And this is a situation where it's a side block that maybe turns into a block in the back, that there is no disengagement. Therefore, we should not have a foul for a block in the back in this situation. And you can see this is a pretty significant foul here, because we have a flag at the 25, let's just say, and then we have a return to the, let's make it round numbers, the 40 on the other side of the field. So we have it's going to go to 25 to the 15, because it was during the return. So we have a 10. We have almost a 35-yard foul, 45-yard foul in this situation. So this is a significant foul. We have to make sure, especially on kickoffs, that we see the whole play and we're right in those situations. All right, this next play, we're going to take a look at the block at the bottom. Again, similar situation right here. We're going to look at the block by this guy. I'm sorry, I'm a little fast with the clicker. So watch this, watch this, watch this. Now, it's similar situation to what happened in the previous play. Side block started, but he never disengages. Is there a slight push in the back? Probably, but there's no, with the block starting in the front and no disengagement, we do not want block in the back called, and it was not called here. So this is a good situation. The only comment I will make here is watch turning your back to the play and officiate it. So this next play, we're going to look at the bottom of the screen again. Right here, okay? So right here, there's, when you get to right here, that if you're this deep wing or you're this short wing, that you should both be watching that. Now, with where you are positioned, there probably is a chance that you might get straight line, that you may not see the block, where the block happens, if the block happens. So if you're an umpire or referee and you're here and you see the complete play, do not be afraid to insert yourself, but give your deep wing and short wing. There's a little bump right there, and like I said, it does not take much. Right there, you can see that it twists him a little bit, allows the runner to gain a couple extra yards, and in this case, the flag comes in the whole way from the referee, who's following this play. And why is he following this play? Because it's the quarterback, and he's doing his job here, following the quarterback downfield, because he has to be able to make a decision on any contact that happens on the quarterback. So his eyes are there to be able to make a play on this situation, and does a really nice job here. Okay, this next play we're going to look at the top of the screen. And I told you, it doesn't take much. Even when a blocker is committed like this blocker, and the play we're talking about this block up here, if you're not sure. He dives, then there's a shove in the back, and you can see that little shove, which was not much, shoved that blocker past the runner, and we get a good call for a block in the back in that situation. That's a good way. That's great job staying with your keys in that situation. We're going to look at the top of the screen around the 20-yard line, and this play illustrates engagement and then disengagement. So let's stop it right here. So we're looking at this block right here. I'm sorry. I'll rewind it back. All right. So what we see here is initial engagement in the front by this player. That player lets go, but then there's the shove in the back by this player right here, right at the point of attack. Boom. Referee is looking right where he is supposed to, right up the chute, and gets this foul. This is great work here by this crew. All right, next play. This is a good no call for an illegal block in the back. We're going to look at the bottom, and the person that we're going to watch is the quarterback. Watch the quarterback on this play. He hands the ball off and goes downfield. Now, why isn't that a block in the back, Brian? It sure looked like a block in the back. Number 4 sees that block coming and at the last minute turns his back. Okay? This is why it's super important. He lowers his shoulder to absorb the blow, which causes the quarterback to hit him in the back. This is why it's very important for us to see the entire play here and not just see right here. Because you see it right here, you're going to throw your flag for a block in the back. In that case, it's not a block on the back, and it was correctly not called. All right, we're going to transition from illegal blocks in the back and holding, and this play got them both. All right, so we're going to look at, first we're going to talk about the bottom receiver, the number 2 receiver, and whether or not it's a block in the back. So watch this play and look at this receiver, and you make the call on this play. All right, I'm sorry, it might be the number 1 receiver. I can't tell. But what do you think? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think it's a block in the back, and I'll tell you why. He's coming back towards the ball, and we'll stop it here. He has a chance to hit this player in the side. This player is clearly in front of him, so if he blocks him, there's going to be a block in the back. Who does he block? The player that was in the back, right there. It displaced them just a little bit. Watch it. Hits it here, causes them to go forward just a yard for the runner to run by him. And this was correctly called for a block in the back. Very good job here by that short wing. Now we're going to take a look at, we're going to transition to holding. And we're going to look at the block by this wingback. And let's talk about the block by this wingback. So there's initial engagement and it's outside engagement. But what he is doing is he's continuing to drive his feet. Yes, there is outside engagement, but the blocker never stops his feet, and you can see his feet are going to the outside trying to get that edge. And it's a great job by this blocker and by this crew for not calling offensive holding on that play, because there's nothing. Now, if what's going to happen is when you see this outside engagement, if the feet stop by the blocker, then there's pretty good chance that if he continues to grab, there's going to be an offensive hold. But in this situation, there was a good no call for offensive holding. All right, this next play, centers. We got to be uber focused on our keys, and our keys are center and both guards here. So watch what happens with this center here, and especially if there's a nose tackle lined up in front of them, because then you know that you're either going to have a double team here, or one of those guards are going to go to the second level and block, and they're going to have one-on-one with that center. So number 73 is the one I'm talking about. I'm sorry, he is the guard in this case. So this isn't the center, so let's rewind. And correct call by Brian. All right, he's lined up, this defensive tackle's lined up over the guard. So watch what he does. He bull rushes him, and the guard pulls him down on top. And what is our umpire doing? Our umpire is ball watching. And umpires, I see this a lot. We got to focus on the center and both guards. Now, one of them is pulling. The center, maybe it is the center. Yes, it is the center that gets bull rushed. I was initially correct. So the center gets bull rushed, and what are the both guards doing? Pulling. So our eyes should only stay right there. These pulling guards are going to be the responsibility of that person and that person as they pull, because they're both coming around here. Okay? You're going to take that block, which is a reverse takedown in that situation. Okay? Next play, we're going to look at the number one receiver at the top. He's blocking, stock blocking, doing a good job, but now he's twisting, right? He twists him and does not let him go. All right, this twist right here is okay if the runner gets tackled way back here. But now we have a significant gain by the offense, and how is this defender supposed to make a tackle with his back to the ball? So this is a great call for holding here. Next one, number 40, play number 44, we're going to look at the wing back at the bottom of the screen. All right, let me point him out. This person right here, let's watch him. Outside grab. Ooh, what do you think there? All right, so he has an outside grab. So what is he allowed to do? He blocks what presented to him, which is his chest. Yes, he has an outside grab, but does he make any restriction with that outside grab? The answer is no. He just continues to push him. Okay? So this is a situation where we cannot panic when we see this outside grab, because he just continues to drive his legs and push that defender where he wants to go. And a good call for, no call for offensive holding on this play. We're going to look at the left tackle here, right here. And we're going to talk philosophy here, okay? So the left tackle gets beat, pull, then we have a sack, right? So, well, Brian, we don't call offensive holding on a player that makes the tackle. You're correct if that tackle occurs right now. That restriction happens here. That tackle must happen right now. Okay? That quarterback is able to get outside a little bit more and get a little bit, maybe get a yard or two back upfield. Okay? So there's the pull, and he gets a yard or two upfield. We throw a flag for holding, rightfully so in this situation. Because leave it up to the coach whether they want the result of the player. They want 10 yards from the previous spot here. Don't get too cute. We see the hold. It's still some action. Then we throw it, and it's a good job here by this crew. Let's look at the left tackle here. Right here. Hook. Ooh, hook. Oh, is that a hook? Is that a hold? What do we think? All right. So we have a hook. So what is this defender offensive player allowed to do in this situation? Push him where he wants to go. Do not hook and restrict him. What does he do? He pushes him where he wants to go. There is no foul for offensive holding. There's no dip of the shoulder by the defender. There's no twist, or the back does not get turned by the defender. We see this a lot. Don't get fooled. Pushed him away. A quarterback was able to step up. Now, it might have been a different story had the quarterback stepped to the outside. We may have had a potential, even bigger potential for offensive hold, but this is a case where it's a good no call for offensive holding. Let's take a look at the tight end at the bottom of the screen. Now, before we start, we have quads at the top, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this makes it uber difficult. So we talk about trips to the top. That referee's working that tackle. It's imperative that line of scrimmage official works this, and this tight end if possible, and the deep wing. You've got to work this tight end. Even though you're far away, you have to work it. In this play, the umpire does a really good job and calls holding on the tight end. And watch what happens. Gets beat to the inside, twist and turn to the ground. Great call here by the tight end. I would hope that the line of scrimmage official and the deep wing saw this. I mean, the deep wing, it happens in the backfield, but what can the tight end do here? Push him where he wants to go, but he doesn't. He twists and turns and takes him to the ground right here. So this is a really good call and a really good pickup by the umpire for offensive holding. All right, let's look at the number 1 receiver. This action right here. All right, pretty simple, right? So what's the receiver? Blocks. Where can he do? Continue to push him. Well, the defender's trying to shed him. Correct. The defender can shed him. We don't overreact to this, but as he's going to the ground here, The receiver continues to hold on and just pulls him down on top of him. So that is an offensive hold here. We don't overreact to the shed by the defender, but when the receiver never lets go the whole situation, that is a foul for offensive holding, and it is right at the point of attack. All right, we're going to take a look at the 20-yard line at the top of the screen. We probably could have called almost 2 holds on this play. All right, so the action we're looking is the action on this player right here. So we have a grab here. Did he pull him to the ground? I'm not sure. If you're not sure, you don't throw the flag, but look what happens by the next defender who picks him up and just twists and turns and throws him to the ground. Great flag throw by both the short wing, the head linesman, and the referee who's looking. Both of them are looking exactly where they're supposed to be. Line of scrimmage officials, you're working inside out, so our eyes start here. Our eyes start here. Referees are looking right up the chute where the action can happen. And we get this foul because we're looking where we should in that twist and turn and take down to the ground. All right, let's move the blindside blocks. We have 2 plays. Oh, I want to go back to that play because there is a blindside. There's a legal blindside block on that play. So we're going to let this play a little bit further. And you'll probably see it at the bottom of the screen as the runner twists and runs out right there. So this is the type of action we want to see by the blocker. So right here we have a blocker going back towards their own goal line, and we have our antennas up. Oh no, are we going to have a blindside block? But watch what he does. He shield blocks him by doing that. And that's exactly the action we want to see by this blocker. And this is great whistle control by this crew not to call the runner down, even though it's coming the whole way back for that offensive hold. All right, blindside blocks. Take a look at this receiver. Only receiver on this side. We have 2 running backs. We should have 2 sets of eyes here. Boom, boom. All right, even as the short wing snap tackle back, once we see this action, him going inside, okay, we don't really have a block on the edge. Okay, this is our worry right here. This is our worry right here. Watch what happens. That's a foul for a blindside block. That's a vicious hit that we need to get out of the game. All right. Next play, let's look at the receiver at the bottom of the screen. Now, I don't like to get picky on line of scrimmage fouls, but does this player get set before the guy goes in motion? It's really tight. I'm okay with you not calling it. Just talk to them about getting set before the motion occurs. But watch what number 10 does. He goes directly inside. It's the same play to the opposite side. Short wing and deep wing have to be on this because this is a vicious foul, and it is definitely a blindside block that we should be calling in this situation. All right, for those of you who have been watching these videos for a while, you know our philosophy on formations. We're going to do our best job to make them legal. We're going to use what's called a blade of grass philosophy. And what that means is if this receiver is on the ball and this receiver is a blade of grass behind that first receiver, we put this one off and this one on. Okay? So we do not nitpick formations like that. We work with our tackles to move them up and make them legal. Okay, so we have to have no more than 4 in the backfield. So look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 right here in this situation. But take a look at where the ball is snapped. The ball snapped right here at the 17-yard line. These 2 players need to be on the line of scrimmage for this formation to be legal, and their hands look like they're back on the 19-yard line. So there is no way that neither of these helmets are even touching the butt of the center. And I bring this up because the crew does a nice job throwing a flag for illegal formation because this is clear and obvious. And this is the clear and obvious stuff we want to get. We don't want to nitpick, okay? If this happens in the first play of the game, we can go and talk to both the coach and the tackle. But there comes a point in the time in the game where we do have to call it. Okay, and the coach is going to tell you, well, we lined up that way the whole game. Well, that's the case, coach. Maybe I missed a few other ones, but in this case, it was clear and obvious that there was not enough players on the line of scrimmage and too many in the backfield. All right, take a look at this play. This player is on, off, off, off. So we have 3 right now, and this is why it's important to communicate with the wing official on the other side. So the ball looks like it is snapped at the 7-yard line. So the 7-yard line is right here. This player is 2 yards back. This player is 3 yards back. We cannot put either one of them on the line of scrimmage. Had this player been up maybe another yard in the same line as the tackle, we can say that this wide receiver or this slot back is on the line of scrimmage and talk to them and make them legal and have a discussion with them after the play. But in this case, it is clear and obvious that we have 5 players in the backfield. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our line of scrimmage official correctly calls this as a live ball foul at the snap. And this is just good focus to not take a break on these situations. So these were 2 cases of illegal formations. All right, this is the end of the tape. Best of luck to everyone this week. Keep working hard. You're doing a great job. Please share the video with whoever you think this can help. I really do appreciate all the comments and questions. And again, if I may say something, please call me out on it. Because just like any official, we all make mistakes and we have to own up to them. So best of luck this week. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to get these right when they come out. And we'll talk again next week.